next speaker is Geoff Last, who also lives near PGV and is going to tell you about his experience, what that's like.
I moved here 28 years ago for many reasons. What I've learned in those years is aloha. Aloha to me means the recognition that the same spirit resides in all of us. Everyone is vital. Everyone counts. We are all in this together. I think that the people of Hawaii need to look at it not in favor or opposed to geothermal. We need to get together as a whole. Permits have been issued and the project is going forward. Of course, we are being told this by people outside of the community and after the fact. It is for the good of the state and its people we need to develop our own energy and not be so dependent on oil. End oil. What are we going to do? There has been no discussion with the community of Puna, or for that matter, with the residents of Hawaii on this course of action. These people, the people in power, use fear, worry, anxiety, and promises to push forward this project. Where is the aloha in that? Now a little history, and I like to look at it from this viewpoint. This country came into being mainly because the people in power, the British and their companies, made decisions without consulting the colonists that lived here, who were being affected by the decisions. There was no discussion. Sound familiar? There was no input from the colonists, and of course they got angry and the rest is history. I think the very fabric of society and democracy is what is in jeopardy here. Elected officials have the obligation to present to the people they represent the issue in an open and concise way with all the information so that the people of this community can ask questions and make an informed decision on what affects their lives. This is not the procedure we now seem to follow in the United States. It certainly has not happened here in the community of Puna. This meeting with you and the meeting with the county council is the beginning of the discussion. I feel the citizens of Puna and the Big Island, whether for or against geothermal development, should, in unison, demand that their neighbors, brothers and sisters, be heard and their questions and concerns be answered and resolved in an open discussion. Having stated this, I have some quick questions that I feel need to be discussed. Let's get to the heart of it. How much money is proposed? Is this proposed giant facility going to cost? Cable and all, who's going to pay for it? That's a pretty good question. 2, who are the investors? I mean specific personal names, not corporate entities. Wouldn't it be nice to know who they were? The people that are determining our future? People in our community have a right to know who their neighbors are going to be and where the money is going. You know, this money is going off island, folks. It ain't staying here. Who is responsible in case of an emergency? What is the emergency response plan? Excuse me. I just laughed at that. Sorry. And how are we going to evacuate and where are we going to go? And the big question is, who's going to pay for it? When they came years ago to get us out during the blowout, the police had gas masks on. Did the police have gas masks for the people they were evacuating? No. Have other alternative sources, such as renewable and conservation methods of energy, been fully and totally looked at and proposed? Do you think Helco wants lower profits? No. So these other alternative things, they want to keep the control on, folks. How will noise pollution be dealt with in our quiet countryside? Hey, I've been here 28 years, and until a Koki came at night, it was deathly quiet. It was wonderful. Of course, Koki make noise now. Who do we bring our grievances to, and how long will it take to get an answer to them? That's always been a great question. Do we have to get lawyers? We've been down that road. Who sets the standards for air quality, and will we have the most recent and best methods of monitoring gases emitted from the facility, and who's going to pay for that? Probably the county, which means us. We're going to pay to have our own cells protected from being gassed from a company that's making a profit. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it, from the company standpoint? What about relocation for people most affected, and who is going to pay for that and when? This location is the most active volcano in the world. Are there not other geothermal locations more stable? Are there other locations further from rural subdivisions? What happens when the volcano says enough? What about all the money then that's being spent? The last one, re-injection of fluids on a large scale. What about fracking? I don't know whether many of you have been reading online about what they're doing in Canada when they're extracting from shale oil, but they're injecting pressure down there and they're having earthquakes and all sorts of problems. That's exactly what Aurora was talking about. That's exactly what a lot of us. Has anybody, ever gone out in their backyard here and dug? I mean, I've been here, I've seen bulldozers fall into lava tubes, disappear. This ground here is like a Swiss cheese underneath here. It's a Swiss cheese. And they're sticking all this stuff back in the ground. Do you think it's going to one location? Come on, let's get real. We know it isn't. Common sense tells it isn't. These are some of the questions that need to be discussed in Puna as well as the rest of the state. Do the people of the state of Hawaii want to trample on the rights of part of their community? That's us. Do we listen to the fears of not having enough energy and then turn on each other? You think maybe that's what's going on a little bit too? Can we not look at and work together and come up with new solutions, thinking outside of the box? There's plenty of stuff. Go on the web. Robert has sent us plenty of stuff. You can go into Rocky Mountain Institute. You can see that the San Diego campus in California has its own mini generation plant. It generates its own thing in a small thing and puts into the grid. Do we need to let outside developers and energy companies dictate our course of action? We, the community, have legitimate fears. We have legitimate worries and anxieties that have been created by the actions and by the powers outside our community. Thank you.